Have you ever walked away from a conversation just feeling completely derailed? Like
hmm
your own sense of reality has been, I don't know, messed with, and you're trying to figure out what was real and what wasn't?
That feeling, that head-spinning confusion,
Hmm.
that's so often at the heart of this, it makes identifying emotional abuse incredibly difficult.
It's difficult because the person doing it is an expert at camouflage, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They will deny everything. They'll rationalize their behavior until it sounds almost reasonable, and then they'll just relentlessly shift the blame back onto you.
And your head just starts spinning.
Yeah,
That immediate aggressive denial makes you question your own experience.
it does.
So our mission today is to, try to cut through that fog. We're going to do a deep dive into this really powerful 10-point checklist. It's from Dr. David Hawkins. He's the director of the Marriage Recovery Center.
And the Emotional Abuse Institute.
Yeah.
And this list it's a tool. It's designed to give you objective language for these really subjective, confusing feelings. And we have to be clear from the start. We are not talking about one bad argument.
No.
Emotional abuse is a pattern, a pervasive pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
We're looking for this structure in the relationship where one person is just consistently left feeling devalued again and again.
That pattern, it really starts with the erosion of safety. I mean, if you can't even address an issue, you can't be safe.
That's the foundation.
So let's unpack sign number 1. I do not feel safe bringing a concern to this person. And this could be anyone, a spouse, a boss, even a parent. That feeling of safety is just gone.
It's gone for a reason. That lack of safety is directly linked to what happens when you do speak up.
Right.
Experience has taught you that bringing up a concern leads to harm. The source material is very specific about what that looks like.
Which is what? Aggression.
Aggression, immediate retribution, or just complete stonewalling.
Yeah.
You show vulnerability, and they hit you with a defensive wall designed to shut you up.
And that wall, that's the mechanism they use. Which brings us right to sign number 2. It's impossible to discuss issues without the person becoming extremely defensive, angry, and, often just shutting down.
The moment there's friction, they introduce chaos.
Mm.
This is where you see this whole array of defensive tactics that make sure the abuser never has to take any responsibility.
It's a psychological fortress.
It is. The list it's long. Blame shifting, stonewalling, denial, minimization, rationalization, justification, excuse making.
And playing the victim.
And playing the victim, of course.
Okay, let's pause on that. Because just listing the terms doesn't really capture the damage. Like when we say minimization, what does that actually sound like? How does that make someone feel?
Minimization is designed to invalidate you instantly. It sounds like you're overreacting.
Oh, yeah, the classic.
Or, that wasn't a big deal, why are you making a mountain out of a molehill?
Yeah.
And the impact is you feel guilty for even bringing it up.
Right. So now you're the problem for being too sensitive.
Exactly. Your concern is gone, and now the problem is your reaction.
So how is that different from rationalization? They sound similar.
Rationalization is more of a cognitive strategy. They're not just saying it wasn't a big deal. They're creating a logical-sounding reason for their bad behavior.
Oh, okay.
So I only yelled because you left the dishes out. If you really respected me, you would have cleaned up. See? It's a whole intellectual structure to make them morally clean, and
Culpable. You're the one at fault.
you're at fault.
So sign 1 is the lack of safety. Sign 2 is the aggressive defense. The logical result is that any real communication just stops.
It ceases to exist.
Yeah.
Precisely. The whole defensive structure flips the script back onto you so you can never hold them accountable. And once that foundation is gone, what happens to your sense of self?
Well, that's where we get into the internal impact, the feeling of being invisible. Sign number 3 says your opinions, your feelings, your choices are consistently just not respected, not heard.
They're irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, in a healthy relationship, people disagree all the time, but there's a basic respect for the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
Here, it's a systemic invalidation.
Your taste in movies, your political views.
What you want for dinner. It's all dismissed or even ridiculed until you just stop offering an opinion.
And the direct emotional result of that is sign number 4.
Yeah.
You're left feeling disregarded, worthless, voiceless, invisible.
That feeling of non-existence it's the central theme here. There's this one quote in the source material from a survivor that's just, it's so painful.
What is it?
I don't really exist in this relationship.
Wow.
You might be there physically, doing chores, going to events, but your presence has no value. No one asks about your day with any real curiosity.
And if you dare to disagree,
it will not go well.
so if your feelings are ignored, as in sign 3, and you're made to feel invisible in sign 4, it makes you wonder how much the person even knows about you.
And that connects directly to sign number 6.
Right.
Sign 6 asks if the person knows and cares very little about your likes, your dislikes, your values, your hopes, your desires.
But hold on, if they live with you, they must know some of this stuff, right? Just by being around you is the key word they're carrying.
That's it. It's the difference between knowledge and caring. In a healthy relationship, people who value us, they care about our cares.
You're interested.
They're interested, they ask questions, they engage. In this pattern, the abuser sees the partner as a functional object, an extension of their own life.
A tool to meet their needs.
Exactly. Your hopes are only relevant if they align with the abuser's comfort. The focus is always inward, on them, leaving you unseen.
Okay, let's pivot from that feeling of being unseen to the abuser's own fragility, their need for control. This is where it gets really explosive. Let's talk about rage. Sign number 5. This person becomes absolutely enraged if you question or contradict anything they say or do.
And we're talking about rage that is completely out of proportion.
Totally.
It speaks to how thin-skinned they are, how fragile their ego is. They don't want a conversation, they demand complete total affirmation.
You question their version of events, a decision they made?
Even their opinion on the weather, and the reaction is explosive.
Yeah.
It's a desperate attempt to restore their sense of superiority.
But what's so confusing is that a lot of people who have this rage at home present as very confident in public. How does someone who melts down over a small challenge keep up that facade?
Because the rage is saved for the safe target.
The person they're abusing.
Exactly. In public, they use charm or dominance. But behind closed doors, any question feels like this. Deep existential threat. So the demand is total agreement. You have to just keep saying, okay, love it, love it, love it.
Just to keep the peace.
Just to keep the peace.
And that constant need for affirmation and the explosive result when you don't give it creates the atmosphere in sign number 7. That pervasive feeling that you are always walking on eggshells.
It means your daily life becomes a constant high-stakes performance.
Yeah.
Nothing you do is ever quite right. Nothing meets their approval. And you're always guarding against that next explosion of disapproval.
This isn't just, trying to be tidy or saying sorry sometimes. This is a state of chronic vigilance.
It's the very definition of living under devaluation. The abuser's need for power and domination happens again and again and again. All of your energy goes into managing their moods.
Not living your own life?
No, you're just guarding. It forces you into this perpetual state of hyper-alertness.
And we have to talk about the consequences of living like that. Signs 8, 9, and 10 are all about the severe physical and psychological toll.
It's inevitable.
Sign 8. Subsequently, you often feel anxious when you're around this person.
That anxiety is earned. It comes directly from that constant fear of disapproval we just talked about.
Right.
Your body is always ready for fight or flight.
Yeah.
Because you're scared they'll reject something fundamental about you, what you say, what you want.
So it creates this chronic state of anxiety that it just never turns off.
Never.
And when you try to explain this to other people, friends, family, it's almost impossible to articulate, which leads to sign 9. It is hard to put into words what it is like to be with this person, and because of that, you feel extremely isolated and alone.
That difficulty is a key feature of covert abuse. Because the tactics, gaslighting, denial, minimization, they don't leave visible marks like a physical bruise would.
So you try to explain, he just made me feel terrible about my job, and a friend might say.
Oh, well, maybe he was just stressed.
Right, and the lack of validation makes you feel like you're going crazy. You start thinking, maybe I am making this all up.
And this isolation is deeper because the relationship, as the source points out, isn't really a relationship.
What does that mean?
It might be two people doing life together, paying bills, raising kids, but it lacks the core element of intimacy.
Which is?
The free exchange of information and feelings. If I can't tell you what I think without being punished, and you can't tell me how you feel without being mocked, we are not relating. We're just coexisting.
So the emotional isolation is baked into the dynamic itself.
It's a necessary consequence of the abuser's denial.
And then finally, sign number 10. The ultimate price the body pays for all this.
Yes.
You start to experience chronic stress, fatigue, insomnia, and you show signs of PTSD, and maybe even complex PTSD.
And that distinction is so important. PTSD often comes from a single catastrophic event, like a car crash.
Okay.
Complex PTSD, or CPTSD, comes from chronic relational interpersonal trauma,
Right.
which is exactly what long-term emotional abuse is.
So CPTSD it's a fundamental rewiring of your nervous system from being in prolonged danger.
Yes. It has all the core symptoms of PTSD, flashbacks, hypervigilance, but it adds things like difficulty regulating emotions, a negative self-perception, and real trouble with future relationships.
Because your foundational relationship taught your nervous system that safety doesn't exist.
Exactly. The fatigue, the insomnia, that's your body never being allowed to rest from walking on eggshells.
Looking at this whole checklist, all 10 signs, they aren't separate issues, are they? They're all interlocked.
Completely. They flow into one another. If you're feeling the lack of safety in sign 1, you're definitely experiencing the defensive rage of sign 2.
It's a closed loop.
It is. The source suggests that if any of these fit your life, it's likely that all of them fit your life. They describe a single, toxic ecosystem.
And the real power of a checklist like this is the clarity it gives you. It takes that confusing, subjective feeling and turns it into an objective pattern you can see.
And that's the whole point.
The whole purpose of this deep dive was to provide that clarity. If you answer these questions honestly, you get the insight you need. And that's the first step, the essential step, to deciding what you want to do with your life next.
That moment of clarity is everything. It's what starts the path to recovery, to reclaiming your own voice.
So we've gone through the 10-point checklist for recognizing these patterns of emotional abuse, all the way from the destruction of safety to the physical toll of complex PTSD.
And as a final thought for you to take away, since this is also rooted in the abuser's denial and defensiveness, that was sign 2. Think about how that one thing, that denial, blocks the free exchange of thoughts and feelings we talked about in sign 9.
The very thing you need for intimacy.
The very thing you need for any relationship to thrive.
So when you see someone become enraged, like in sign 5, just because you question them, it really makes you wonder, what is the fundamental difference between a healthy disagreement
Where people can just agree to disagree.
and demanding a power structure where one person's reality has to be completely adopted by the other? That difference, it defines everything.